Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the American Tier 6 Premium Tank Destroyer, the T78. Now this is a tank destroyer that came out quite a while ago. I think it came out just before 6.0, and it's a tank that I don't think I've featured on the channel before. It's a pretty decent little tank destroyer at Tier 6. I think it's worse than the Hellcat myself. I think it's worse than the Tech Tree Hellcat, number one, which is great, because the Tech Tree Hellcat is a wonderful tank, and it's nice to have a premium that's worse than the Tech Tree. But also, I think that the Hellcat 105 that is also out there is also a better tank destroyer. There's things that do irk me slightly about this tank, and that is basically the gun. Actually, really, when things boil down to one thing, the gun is really frustrating. This gun, and you're going to see that in this replay especially, likes to miss. And it will just miss some silly shots and get you into trouble, which is very, very annoying. But on the whole, it's a pretty nice tank. It gets up to a top speed of 55 kilometers an hour, and it does it pretty decently. Its camo's pretty good, and you actually have pretty decent view range for a Tier 6 tank destroyer as well, at 370 meters of view range. The penetration on this tank is 160 on the standard, 221 on the premium, which is more than enough for everything you're going to face really at Tier 6, with 240 alpha as well. Now, the one thing that you're going to see is that you've got 710 hit points in this first replay, and the second replay was from just before they buffed the hit points of the lower tier vehicles. So you can see that that's got 600 hit points. It did get a buff of 110 to the HP. But yeah, the gun on this tank really does annoy me. It does love to miss, although you really have to make sure that you are fully aimed, because it's one of those tanks that if you aren't fully aimed, the gun will do its best to hit the floor, which is desperately sad at times. So what do I run in terms of a crew on the old T78? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. The 3 gun perks, because like I say, this gun is pretty irritating, so I want to make the most of it. Camouflage Expertise and Silent Driving to get the best out of the camo. So I want to keep my camo down while I'm on the move, so I use Silent Driving for that, and then the Camouflage Expertise just to get that little bit extra out of my camo, if I humanly can do. Now, in terms of equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, the Optics, and the Camo Net. The Advanced Loader to get the best DPM I humanly can do. The Optics to be able to spot for myself, at least use the the good camo I've got mixed with good view range to be able to outspot opponents if I humanly can. And then the Camo Net again to knock the camo down to a very good range, because you do get pretty damn good camo. Now, like I say, I want to run the gun perks on this tank because you do have 0.38 accuracy in the T78 and pretty poor soft stats at that as well, which means the gun blooms out a hell of a lot. So I want to try and make that as good as I humanly can do, and that way I can actually get the shots on target, because 0.38 is not that nice. But you do have 2-second aim time, which is really quick, so you do get the gun aimed in pretty fast as well. It's just one of those tank destroyers that you really have to wait for it to be fully aimed, and even then, when it's fully aimed, a lot of the time it will still like to hit the dirt, which can be very, very irritating. So in this first game, as you're seeing, we are on this map, which is Serene Coast, and on Serene Coast, we are heavily bottom tier, which is not good. We're up to 1,611 assistance so far, with 1,222 damage, satisfying damage, none with that. And we are the focus of attention of those 3 medium tanks. So I decide, nope, not dealing with that. We're not going to do that. But we're going to see if we can get a shot into the VK. We can't quite get a shot into him. Can we get a shot at this T77 across the way, though? We do have shots at his side, so we slap a shot towards him as he gets unspotted. And unfortunately, we only just do the critical damage, so we don't actually do any other damage to him. We probably just hit his tracks or something like that. We do get spotted by the 416, though. We pop up to get a shot towards the T77, and thankfully that shot flew straight in. The Dragon's now popped over to have a look at us, so we don't really want to take that risk. We're going to try and get the shot now into the side of the T77 to get the kill, which we do, securing our 3rd kill of the game, the second one on a Tier 8 vehicle, or first one on a Tier 8 vehicle, that right? We're now going for the shot into the 416, and oh boy, that goes in. We're now going to make sure that we're aiming this shot perfectly. And just as we fire, of course, he dies. We get very lucky, though, to miss the shot from the Dragon, which means we live to fight another day there. We could have quite easily died. We're up to 1,600 damage with 861 damage, sorry, with 1,600 assistance. And We just missed a shot there on that medium was snapped in. I'm just watching to see what the tank destroyer is doing. It's an ARL V39. It doesn't really have a turret, so we're going to try and go round it. But this is another problem of something like the T78. Our track traverse is not very good, so we couldn't actually out-traverse this guy. But we know that we can get another shot in before he reloads. We've now got that guy down to a one-shot, and it's like, oh, this is kind of awkward. We're going to see if we can try and outdo him because he hasn't got a turret. And thankfully, because he hasn't got a turret, he couldn't do much to us. And we shut down the ARL. And we finished with the game with 4 kills, 2.5k damage, 1600 assistance, ace tanker, the 1968 base XP. A pretty damn nice game for a tank destroyer at tier 6 in a tier 8 game. You saw in that game, though, that this gun does love a miss every now and then. You sit there going, come on, gun, just please play ball. And it does that a fair amount, which is just frustrating. It's why I've never really played it that much, because I just feel like I could just go play the Hellcat and have a better time. And I do have a better time with the Hellcat, to be honest. I enjoy it far more than this tank. Same as the Hellcat 105, or just play the Super Hellcat, you know. I think there's a lot of competition out there for the T78, and a lot of the competition out there for the American Tier 6 tank destroyer does what this tank does. Does what this tank says on the tin, but better. Which means it just gets relegated to me not really playing it that often. But we did have 2 nice games, and that's what we're on to the second replay. And the second replay, like I say, was from a wee while ago. It was before the HP buff to the lower tiers. And we are on Moravanka, which is a good map for a tank like this, because there's lots of concealment, there's lots of spots to be able to use your camo, which is what you should be doing realistically in this tank, not being as aggressive as I was in the last game, and therefore it gives you enough time to actually get the gun aimed in on target and get the shots in. So we've got our first kill of the game so far. We got the kill on that light tank. We're now getting some shots into this Jumbo Sherman, who we have tracked in place, and oh, we have him perma-tracked, so we're going to try and get the kill on this guy, hopefully before he dies. There we go, we get the kill in. That's the second kill of the game. Now there's a VK3001H. Get a shot into his side and it rolls high. That's 3 kills in 4 shots. We'll take that. Now there's an A43 at the back of the map. It's like, hello, Mr. A43. We try and get a shot towards him, but unfortunately the shot does miss. You do have to lead the shells a little bit in this tank because you only have 853 meters a second shell velocity on the AP. The APCR does have 1066 meters a second shell velocity though, which is pretty damn nice. So if you do switch to APCR, you don't have to lead quite as much as the AP, but you still have to give a decent amount of lead because it's only 1000 meters. So this A43 is driving in a very, very weird manner. He's just got covered. We go for the shot towards his cupola, but we can't quite find it. I realistically want this guy to die before we move on. Looking for that shot into his turret, and thankfully that shell goes straight in, and he gets shut down by the Citadel. But now we have shots at the guys on their sort of camper hill at G3. So we're just going to start pummeling shots towards this Easy 8 if we can. Hopefully that shell goes... Oh, that one looped, though. That one looped somewhere, and unfortunately we just missed that shot on that Easy 8. I have no idea where that shot... That looked like it should have probably gone towards him, but hey-oh, it didn't. Randy shuts down the Chi-Nu, and now we are going to move forwards towards this Jumbo Sherman. But a Jumbo Sherman, if we're firing standard, we won't really penetrate from the front. So we've loaded premiums in case he turns his armor towards us. He's now down at 270 hit points. We put another shot into his side. Hopefully we get the finish on this guy, who... I think, oh, well, he didn't shut him down, but we do get to shut down the Jumbo Sherman there. They've got 7 tanks left, we've got 8. It's on a knife's edge at the minute, this game. In fact, it's 7-7, so this game is on a knife's edge. We're going to push quite aggressively towards their camper hill, try and get under the guns if we can, and get underneath the ridgeline. Then we spot this box tank. It's like, hello, Mr. Box Tank. We fire around towards him, and we've actually got HE loaded, which means we only did 97 to that box tank. I must have meant to switch back to AP, and then just by accident didn't. I just changed it to HE. But we only got 97 damage on that guy. Now we've got an Easy 8 in front of us. We get the shot through the Easy 8. It's like, please, Mr. Easy 8, don't have a derp gun. Do not have a derp gun. Thank goodness he doesn't have the derp gun. And we shut him down. We're on to our 5th kill of the game for 2.2k damage. Now going on the broom bar, which, well, that's risky because that's a big gun. Oh, that was a risky shot. Wow. Okay, then. He gets shut down by Randy. Now the Dicker Max is coming in. We don't want to get dicked to the max. That's not a good time. And he ends up getting shut down by the STRV M4257. Thank goodness for that. That would have been painful. We now are going after this 5916. I want my top gun. It's like, 5916, come here. Thank you, sir. We get the top gun. But the cap, look at the cap. 2 in the cap with 20 seconds. It's like, oh, they're the only 2 left on the enemy team, so we know exactly where they are. But we have to get there to decap. It's like, please, we must win the game. We've got to decap this. Can we actually get there? It's not looking good. 6 seconds. 5, 4. There's the Churchill 7. 3, 2. Oh, he's been decapped. There we go. He's down to a 1-shot. We slap the shell in. Get our 7th kill of the game. It's like, oh, Radley Walters, let's go. This is a possible. Hello, Mr. Stewig. Please back up, back up, back up, back up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes! 8th kill of the game. There we go. Thank you so much, Mr. Stewig, for backing up. Finished the game with a really nice total for the T78 there. Always nice to get 8 kills. We finished with the victory. 8 kills, 3.2k damage, 1975 base XP. Ace Tanker, Radley Walters, Brothers in Arms, Devastator, High Caliber, Top Gun, and a really, really nice game for the T78, which isn't a bad tank destroyer by any stretch. It's a pretty decent little tier 6 tank destroyer. It's just that you could have any of the Hellcats, and I feel like you'd have a better time generally. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!